Hello, welcome back. I'm Jeff Byers, your instructor for ANI 150. This is Module 2, UV Mapping, Lighting and Rendering. Wow, we've gone on a long journey, and if I hit the 6 key, you should see your texture on your box. Our last video, we added all the textures, which is really cool. If you don't see the textures, don't worry. I think they're still there. And it has to do with your video card, what type of video card you had. I couldn't get this to turn on the first time I was using my 2020. So it takes a while. Be patient, and if you see black, don't worry. Okay, that's normal. If you see what I see, that's great. That's great. But when we render it, if you see black when you render it, you'll be surprised what it looks like. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our props started. And I could select these one at a time, hit the Q key, and just select one of these holding down the Shift button. Make sure you're in object mode. And I'm going to go ahead and hold down the Shift button and click on all these. Now I could do that, right? And click every one of them because I want to have everything selected. But the better way would be to marquee select the whole thing, right? And then hold the control key down and just deselect the crate. Okay? So you can see all those pieces, and I got those selected. So think about that stuff when you're selecting things, how you can select things fast. Again, I could go in here and hold the Shift key down. Most of you probably would have done that. But just select all of this, deselect, hold the control key down, deselect that, and that's how you can make your selections fast. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a automatic map. Let's just knock this out really quick. Okay, automatic map, option box. Okay, and we are going to go to edit, reset, and project. Alright, so now I'm going to go in here, go to UV Texture Editor, and that'll pop that back up, and you can see we've got a mess. Okay, so a little tip here to get us started. We want to get this laid out and then pack back in. How can we do that the absolute fastest? These are small little pieces, so we don't want to spend a lot of time on here. So go to Arrange and Layout. Okay, I want you to click on the Layout button. There we go. Wow. Okay, that was fast. Now it's not that great, but again, most of these objects are square. Now the problem is that there are some that are not square. So how did they turn out? Okay, probably not so well. Okay, so let's take a look at the checkerboard. And believe it or not, wow, that's not too bad. Look at that. I think it's something we do have, you know. Let's go look at the, so we talked about your UV editor. Let's turn that off a minute. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a lot, could have been a lot worse. There is some stretching in there. Let's take a look at how bad it is. Okay. So from a distance, from how you're going to look at this crate, I don't think you'll ever notice it, to be honest with you. You can probably get away with that. Don't tell anybody I said that, but you probably could. But there's a part of me going, ooh, I see stretching right there, you know. But the main part of what you're really seeing and what you're visually seeing is the crate, because it's so much larger than the rest of the little pieces. Little pieces just make it, you know, work. So let's turn off the grid and let's take a look at this a little closer. Alright, so let's click on our seams. Look at all the texture seams that there are. Most of these are 90-degree angles, and it won't be a problem or an issue. The cylinders are a problem. Okay, let's just face the facts. But they're so small. You could probably get away with it. You know, maybe. But what you probably want to do is to fix those. So you can, it's fairly simple, like I showed you, but it takes time. So really, honestly, I would highly recommend that. Let's see how bad it is first, okay, before we make any big judgment call on that. So let's turn that off, because there's a lot of seams. We can see that. But most of them are in the 90-degree angle. What do I mean by that? Well, 90 degrees means you have an edge and then a 90-degree angle. That's okay to have a seam on there. That's okay to have a seam. This isn't. See where the seam is? We really want to put the seam in the back, especially when it's a round object. And those seams are showing. It's just right in your face. But at a distance, would you really see it? That's debatable. Here, these two are beveled, not quite a 90-degree angle. That's a problem too, because you could probably lay those out flat. Okay? So, you almost have to go in there and texture it and see if you can get by with it. If it was a larger piece, I would probably say, ooh, you really need to change that. Another thing I tell students is that if the seam's in the front, you could probably rotate the object, right? And just put it in the back. I'm trying to save you guys time. So, here's the thing. Get the seams in the back, if you can do that. Or you just go in here to the pieces. Let's go in here to shell and click on a shell here. And you know where that shell is, right? You could go in here and find the shell for the rest of it, like this part right here. And you can see they're kind of wonky here too. They're a little bit wonky, right? So you can go in there and just kind of rotate them, and you can do this. You can go orient shell and make sure it's perfect, and blah blah blah, and it is important, but little small things, I question that sometimes. I mean, I'm on the fence with that, even as a professional. How much time do we really spend on the little things? Yeah, there are some professionals that would be like, you got to get these sewn. Yes, they're right. I mean, technically, they're correct. So, but what do you do? Okay, so let's click on the Q key, and let's click on that, and we know those two work together. Let's go to Edge and click on that. And let's click on this one, and we know those two edges go together. So move and sew, right? So we can move and sew. All right, those pieces are together. All right. So that means I just, took care of that one. Okay. You're going to have a seam somewhere, right? So if I were to rotate that now, we've got two seams here. Unfortunately, two seams, right? I think that's what two more seams. That's too bad. Okay, but you could place it like that, and probably, that kind of thing. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to go ahead and fix it. I'll fix one, and you guys can fix the others. So it's let's go back out of here and go into here and do a UV shell. Alright, so again, you gotta pull that out, and you gotta find now the other edge. Where's the other edge at? Okay, is it flipped over? It could be flipped over, so go ahead and go to move and sew, right? There we go. So it's good. And so you could take that shell now, select it, and go to unfold, and then unfold it. There you go. And that helps. Okay? And it's done. A lot of times, work smart, not hard would be that you would basically you'd unwrap one of these pieces, cylinders, and then you duplicate them all around. Now this one here, if you were to UV map it and then stretch it out and scale it up, that would be a problem. You can't do that. But all these little pieces, I've got 4 of these. So I could do, UV map 1, duplicate it over. It duplicates the UV map, by the way, too. So you could do that. That's some time saving. Then we got this piece right here, and of course this should be pretty easy to UV. Go ahead and get these pieces together, move and sew like that, and let's get that shell out. pack that out. And let's go to the other side of that edge, right? And then move and so. There we go. And then click on the piece and go ahead and unfold it. Boom. So that's much better. Okay, so got those two pieces. We got this bad boy right here. Go in here. This one's a little bit tougher to do because you've got like a couple different 90. You got two 90-degree angles here. You may not be able to do much with that because I don't think Maya will unwrap that properly. Let me take a look at this a minute. Are the ends open? If the ends are closed, you don't need to have. So I could take these faces off. The faces aren't the problem though. It looks like it's cut okay. It's cut at a couple spots right here and here. It had to do that. What about the other side? Yeah, cut the other side too as well to try to get those normalized. And then it's got it's got some bad cuts right here. Okay. So yeah, that's a problem with automatic mapping, especially with cylindrical objects and then cylindrical with 90-degree angles. That's a problem. I tend to ignore this kind of stuff. It's such a small little piece. What would be the easiest way to UV map that? You have to ask yourself what would be the easiest. Let's bring that back again. Well, you don't ever see the top, so that's not really an issue. Here it is, all laid out, the pieces itself. So let's go ahead and select it and move it out of the way. These are all the pieces. Okay. So what if I went in here and then selected it and then unfolded it? Okay. And is there a way of getting rid of some of those? Let's go ahead and click on that edge there. And see that edge goes all the way around. And it connects to these two. Let's go ahead and move and sew and see what happens. Move and sew. You know, that's a little better. You got some janky stuff going on here, and you've got some overlapping UVs right there. If I click on that to shell, and I click on unfold, that does help. We got some destruction right here, right? But we could go in here and click on that edge, right? And go ahead and sew that. That could help a little bit, move and sew. And that edge there, move and sew. And then that edge there, move and sew. I'm fixing it. Those two together. Move and sew. There we go. And almost got it. Alrighty. Yep, okay. So there's, you know, and it's in the back, so that's okay. I think I can live with that. I can live with that, yep. That's good. Got some crazy stuff going on here, but I think that's pretty cool. That looks good. The rest of it's okay. The rest of it's fine. Let's see, let me look at that one. This guy right here. If I went in here and did this, I suppose this would probably work. Edge, right? Okay, if this is the outside of the buckle, yeah. So we can do the outside of the buckle real quick. I'll show you that. That's pretty easy. So I'm going to click on that one, move and sew. Okay. That one, move and sew. That one, move and sew. And that one, move and sew. And that's how easy those are. And then you've got these crazy little buggers right there. You have to move and sew, otherwise they're overlapping. So move and sew. You're learning a lot. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. There we go. And so you can do all those. Alright, so when you're all finished, fixing all that stuff, I would probably, if you get one side done like this, I would just probably, and this is what I'm going to do when I pause the video, is go in here and go to object mode, right? And select everything, right, again. Or select this side and deselect this guy. And mirror that over. Mirror that over to the other side, or just copy it and move it over to this side. Because you got the UVs done. So you've got all the UVs done on one. Just copy it over. Get rid of this one over here. And paste it over here. Do one of the buckles over here. You know, this whole section over here. Move it over there. And then you can do that one. Okay? I'm going to come back. You guys take your time. Get that done. And then you're going to export it out. And go ahead and do your magic with your... but we'll come back. We'll pack it. We're just going to pack one UV with this. And it'll be 2048. Keep it consistent throughout. So I'm going to pause. Okay, so one thing I do want to mention is there's a utility, a tool that you can do to transfer maps too as well. You don't have to duplicate it over. If you wanted to transfer the maps, I'll show you how to do that real quick. So that piece is all broken up. This piece is pretty much together. We still have one more part we could probably put together. Moving so, there we go. And let's go ahead and select the UV shell and unfold it. There we go. So that one's pretty much done. Okay. So let's take that shell, move it over, take that shell. This is normal. Okay. These are the end caps. So those are good. So that one's done. What if I want to transfer that map over? So I've got one done and I want to transfer that over. I would hold down the space bar, go to mesh, go to transfer attributes. Okay, we're going to transfer the attributes. And everything's, let's go ahead and edit, reset settings, and the only thing we're going to change is sample space to component. Okay? That means it's going to take the component, the components that make up this object and transfer them over. So I'm going to select that one that's got the good UVs. I'm going to click on this one that doesn't have the good UVs. Make sure you're in object mode, by the way. Click on that one and shift click this guy. Okay, and then transfer attributes over. Okay, so when I click on this one, you can see that I've got it. Okay, and then I can click on this one, I can see I got that one. So I'm going to go to UV shell. Okay, and I'm going to click on this guy at the same time. Make sure you're in object mode, and we can see. Let's see if it'll lay it out okay. Go ahead and lay it out and see what happens. They're on top of each other. Okay, I want them separated. So that's the only problem I see with this, is that it will lay out the UVs. It'll put them on top of each other. So if you want them all together, that's fine. Doesn't matter to me. So however you want to lay this out. So this one is good, right? We got that one, and then we might have one little piece here we need to the edge, and moving so, and we're going to select the shell and unfold, and all these two pieces over here, they're good to go. There we go. Alright, so what I can do is select this guy, okay, and I can transfer attributes over to this guy. So I'm going to click on him. There we go, so I got them both selected. Go to mesh and transfer attributes. Okay, so both meshes are good. And I think this bar right here, did we fix that? I thought we fixed that. Or was that the other side? There it is. So we fixed that bar. Okay. Kind of. Kind of fixed it. And so we will select that bar, select that one, and go over here and shift select that one, hold down the space bar, go to mesh, and transfer attributes. So it's all set up for you now. Okay. Alright. So now I have this buckle. Now this is kind of stretching what you can do and what you can't do. You can see that one of these buckles I think I fixed, didn't I? I thought I fixed one of these. Maybe I fixed the bottom one. Yes, I did fix the bottom one. Alright, so fix the bottom one. And this is kind of stretching what you can do because they're supposed to be exactly the same. Well, they're not really the same, are they? Okay, this one and that one. So I'm going to see if it will work okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to object mode and select that object, hit the Q key, select that object, then shift select that one. And let's see if we can just kind of quickly enforce it. Mesh and transfer attributes. It did. I don't know what's going to look like with the texture space on. You see that? It's a little wonky, so I think I can go in here though and do a scale, right? I can do a scale. Let's see what happens. Well, I can't do it because they're sharing the same attributes. So see how it doesn't really work. This texture will be squashed. Okay, that one will be stretched. This one will be okay, but that one will be. So that's can be a problem. So I'm going to Control Z back. So it has to be the same. So you got to see that you do have to have the same. Okay. So that's the way of getting everything together. And then the next video, once I get all that's done, I am going to we'll lay out the different textures that we want to add. So I'm going to have 4 different. This will be rubber. This will be metal. This will be metal, and then might be a different metal. So we'll have 4, basically just about 4 different maps. I think these buckles will be the same as this, unless you want to put something on the buckle that's changed. So you may have 5. And of course these guys right here, I'm not too worried. You're never going to see those, so don't worry about UV mapping those properly. I think those will be fine. Okay, everything else, just get them laid out, and we'll come back. Okay, I wanted to show you this issue I was running into. Okay, so just kind of let you know where I'm at. So I'm gonna select this object here and deselect this object, and let's go into object mode, deselect that. So I got all these pieces set up. Okay, so I got this error. It wants to lay out the UVs, but I got this non-manifold geometry issue that I've got here. And to lay out UVs, let's go in here to UV shells. Doesn't like non-manifold geometry at all. So I found out what happened is just kind of, you can see all that crazy stuff going on here. I found out that it was this object over here. So I've hit the 4 key. There it is. I pinpointed it. This is corrupted. So that happens. So that piece right here, if I hit the 5 key, you can see it. I'm just going to delete it. It's not worth it. So when I deleted it, let's go back into UV again. Okay. And I select everything. Okay, make sure I'm in object mode. And try that again, select it. And then deselect. And you can see that it's gone. Okay? So that if that's the culprit, get rid of it. If you have a good one here, then you can duplicate that over. So I'm going to go to selection mode. Go to the side view or front view, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that over. Hit the W key, Control D, and move it over, just like that. Okay, I've already got a UV map properly, so we're good to go there. So now I'm going to go back into here and object mode, select everything, deselect that, and go to layout, UV layout. Let's go ahead and lay those out. And there we go. So that is it. Okay. So I want the pieces, go into UV shell. Alright. So I want the shells to be selected. Looks like we're good there. I'm not sure what happened here. That's kind of strange. I transferred the UVs over. I thought I did. So let me go ahead into this one. Select. Let's move that over. Control A. UV shell. Okay, that's a shell. Okay, looks good. And so let's go back, Control Z back. Okay, move that out of the way. There we go. Let's go to the other side. Sharing the same shell, but it has everything separated. Well, that's really bizarre. Okay, let's try that again. Select this guy. Let's go to Mesh, Transfer Attributes, Component, everything looks good. Shift select this guy right here, and transfer. Didn't want to transfer over properly. This component. I think what I'm going to do is get rid of that. Getting some strange things happening here. It's good that you see this, because if you run into the same issue, you're not going to panic or anything. So let's go to object mode, get out of component mode, and delete that. Okay. And then this one here, we'll just duplicate it over. Just like I was saying before, if you run into issues, if one is good, duplicate it over, and you should be good to go. There we go. Alright, so now we've got some good UVs. Alright. Let's try that one more time. Selection. It's good that you see that you're seeing this happen. I don't need to see this, so I'm going to turn that off. Let's go back to just wireframe. There we go. That makes it a little easier. Let's go ahead and select everything again, deselect that, and let's go ahead and get these packed. It's really important that we get them packed now. I'm running out of time. There we go. Okay, so we want these to be different in different UVs. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to go in here and select this guy right here, and this guy. Okay, that will be rubber, so they're going to have their own. And I'm going to select this one, the Q key, make sure I'm in object mode. There we go. And these, and all of these will share a, they're going to have the same material. Okay, so go ahead and select those shells and move over. You can see how I'm doing this. Select those shells and move them over. There we go. And then we're going to take these guys, go back to object mode, this one, hit the Q key, and this one, okay, and this one, 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 and this one. These will all share the same UV maps. Okay. And we're going to probably do these two as well. So I'm holding down the shift key, get all those in there. There you go. Don't need that one. There we go. So those will be in its own layer. Okay, so that'll be good. UV shell. Select those, move those over. Alright, cool. Alright, good. Alright, awesome. Okay, so all those are now in their own shells, moved around. And we need to make sure that they are in there. Okay, so probably what I'm going to do is select them and do this. Layout UVs for those. There we go. And I know those are packed in there. So now I'm going to just move those over. There we go. Into that one. Just make sure nothing is... Okay, so we've got these pieces here will share the same texture, same material, right? So let's move these out of the way a little bit. I think I want to repack those, okay? And then it looks like I've got these are sharing the same texture, which is wrong because I want this object here. Select this object here. These two objects will share their own texture space. So let's go ahead and click on object mode. There we go. Alright, so those need to share the same texture space. So let's go into shells, select those shells, and click on layout, and let's go ahead and move those out of the way. And then the rest of the shells, okay, let's go back out here, go into object mode, select everything, deselect everything, and then these shells will be their own shells. Okay, so there we go. So that's what I want to do. So those will have their own, these shells will have their own shells. These will have their own texture, and then these will have their own texture, and then these will have their own texture. So we'll have 3 different materials. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. Alright, so zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we need to pack these shells up nice. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to select these shells first. I'm going to go to modify layout. I'm going to make some changes here, just a couple changes. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down, and shell padding is 20 by 20. Okay, hit enter. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and lay out UVs. Okay, so it's going to give me some space there between the edges. Okay, those are packed, are good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these shells, okay, and move them over. Let's just say we move them over here, and because I have that space now. Okay, so now I'm going to select these shells. Okay, I'm going to click on UV layout. Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but those should be over here. So go ahead and move those over there. There we go. And so we got a little gap here. That's good. So I'm going to select those all and move those shells over. That's great. Okay. Because I gave it a little more space, it's easier to get those shells in there. I'm going to select these shells. Okay. Okay. Because I set that UV layout, it helps us lay out these shells better. There we go. And that's the last one. So now I've got all my props laid out. I'm going to hit the object mode, get in object mode. And so now we're ready to save these out. Okay, so we're going to click on this UV snapshot option, PNG, 2048, and we've got 3 tiles. So let's type in 3. Okay, it's going to go to PNG, that's fine. Browse, and these are going to be called props, all caps, props, UV, and then TX texture, props UV texture. Save. There we go. That'll be good. Apply and close. Okay. Alright, and we're going to close this up. Alright, so now these are ready to export. So I'm ready to export those UTMs. So I'm going to go ahead and File, Export Selection, OBJ Export, and these are going to be called props. And export. And that's it. And then we'll go into Substance Painter, really quickly texture these, and move on. Okay, this won't take long. Alright, see you in the next video.